there's been a lot of discussion about EVO having all of its different EVOs, right? Instead of having just the one EVO that we normally have, which is in Las Vegas, we started having two, which is EVO Japan and EVO Vegas, and now they're adding even more with an EVO Nice this time around, EVO France, if you will. There's been a lot of discussions of, does EVO having the multiple EVOs, right? Does that kind of tarnish the brand of what EVO is? Does it make EVO less prestigious? Does it make EVO less worthwhile, etc., if there's more of it, right? And I know a lot of people feel a certain way about it, but here's my take. With something like EVO, where you have, the world, like the prestige is in the name, right? So having more EVOs, logically, if you have more of the thing, then the demand goes down, right? That's how, like, in this capitalist world that we live in, that's what we're taught to look for, right? However, look at all of the positive shit that has come out of EVO Japan, right? Like, EVO Japan has, an unbelievable showing every year now in Japan. And looking at it again, like bringing this up again, we talked about the EVO numbers not too long ago, and this year 90% of the attendance at EVO are coming from the US already. So less international travel is being had, right? Because it's harder to travel, politically, financially. It sucks. Traveling is hard. So having more of these around the world, so players that don't get the chance to travel to the US every year for EVO, or that don't get the chance to travel to Japan for EVO, having stuff like this all over the world, I never see as a bad thing. It's just, more events. And I think everybody already sees EVO in the US as like the one, right? Like EVO Vegas is the EVO, right? That's why it's not like EVO USA, it's EVO, right? Look at this. Like, for the first time in Europe, a Street Fighter tournament has surpassed 1,000 players, right? That's just like one of like the many, right? That happened with Street Fighter. What else? The first time in Street Fighter, what else here? I know there's been a lot of these, right? Like, it's the first time there's been a tournament of this scale in Europe, which kind of really like makes you think, right? It's like, damn, I feel like in the US we get one of these almost like once every month or so, with stuff like Combo Breaker, with stuff like CEO. It's always like multi-$1,000 brackets, or multi-thousand person brackets. So I find it interesting that people are so fast to, once again, it's like that, it's that whole concept of, trying to not be disappointed or whatever, and immediately you start like pointing out the flaws and all this other stuff. But this is a huge deal. First time in Europe a Street Fighter tournament has surpassed 1,000 players, right? And it's not just Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure like a lot of others. Yeah, with over 600 players, EVO France will be the largest Tekken tournament held in Europe, right? Like, for another record, join us for EVO France for Guilty Gear's, the biggest Guilty Gear tournament in Europe, right? Like, all of these tournaments are breaking record numbers in Europe, and it's the first one. I understand what's the sign-up cost like for EVO? Let's see. But I understand the skepticism, right, of wanting to keep EVO the same and like not wanting change because you're afraid it's going to change how things are perceived. But I don't think it's that deep, right? I don't think it's that deep. So just for the 3-day pass is 110 euros plus platforming fee and processing fees, 120 euros to go. This isn't counting like the £10 entrance fees per game, right? So it's 120 plus however many games you're entering. It's very hard to not see the positive impact of all this stuff, right? Like the biggest tournament in Europe is happening. because EVO is doing like these EVO outings, if you will, right? So I think people who are worried about like the prestige of EVO and all this other stuff, it's like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Things change, right? Even if like EVO Vegas is not going to be like the biggest tournament ever, and I'm pretty sure it is still going to be the biggest tournament ever every year. Like, I don't think expanding is a bad thing to make sure that people outside of the US get the opportunity to have like the EVO experience. You know what I mean? Plus, like, it's in fucking Nice, dude. Like, I want to go. I want to go watch a badass like Street Fighter 6 tournament and then go to the beach, you know?